What's up, fellow Hoops fans? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV. And as always, we are brought to you by our great friends over there at topsport.com.au. Now it's Friday morning. Friday morning means BK's in the building.
Yeah. What's going on, my man?
What's happening, my man? Are you feeling good? Feeling joyous this Friday morning?
Of course, my man. Of course. I've got plenty of fun to get to today.
We do, actually. And before we get into it, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Little Birdie team, to Nikki Sylvester. Put on a great event last night, Glamour on the Grid, an F1 event over there in South Bank. Had a lot of fun. The Sushi Mango guys came through, had a magician down there doing all kinds of sorcery, and I'm still trying to figure out how he did it. So shout out to them. It was a really great event last night. BK, let's get straight into the basketball talk. We're going to talk about this, right? We're going to start off. We're going to just quickly mention it, right? I said I didn't want to talk about you know who or you know what anymore, but we're going to talk about your mate, Russell Westbrook, because he is in the news this morning, BK. Apparently, there's rumors going around that the Charlotte Hornets are in hot pursuit of old mate Russ.
Yeah, I was surprised this came out before the season has even ended. I'm not sure what MJ is trying to do out there, but an interesting proposition. I mean, firstly, the Lakers could get something in return for Russell Westbrook, but what would that mean for LaMelo Ball and the Hornets? I mean, Russ and LaMelo looks and sounds like an exciting combination, but I don't know what that does for LaMelo's development.
Listen, fam, on paper, LeBron, AD, and Russ also sounded like an exciting combination. And we know how that worked out. Now, it seems to me now, Russ is actually not playing today against the Golden State Warriors. Neither is AD or LeBron. So they've pretty much shut it down for the season. Look, what it means for LaMelo, I think the Lakers, first of all, just can't wait to get rid of Russell. They're like, we don't care if there is 2 games left. We want to get rid of this guy. I don't know what it means for LaMelo, man. Like, I don't know. Look, I don't think he's a bad teammate, right? Like, I think if he's in the locker room, that sort of veteran presence, a guy like that will help LaMelo. But as far as his development on the court, I mean, we've seen how it's worked out with like guys like LeBron and AD, and obviously when he was in Washington with Beal, and LaMelo's a younger guy, right? So I don't think he'd have that sort of voice to maybe, he'd probably defer to Westbrook more than what those other guys did, and it didn't work out with those other guys. So I don't know how it would work out with LaMelo. Yeah,
I mean, the one saving grace is that's the kind of team I think Westbrook can elevate, like a mediocre team, like what we saw him do with the Wizards last season, and that's why we've seen teams like the Knicks pop up as well as potential destinations for us. So I don't know. I still think Russ is a good player. It's just all about the fit, and I don't know if the Hornets make sense as the fit. But this is going to be a fun one to track during the off season to see where Russ potentially ends up, because I'm not sure if it's going to be in LA.
BK, I keep saying this. I feel like I say it every episode. I admire your dedication to the Westbrook Island, mate.
I'm a denier. I won't accept it.
I love it. Look, as far as him elevating a team, like I don't think he's a bad player, right? We've cracked jokes all season, especially me. I don't think his game has aged well. I still don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he's at a point where he could elevate a team, even a team like the Charlotte Hornets. It's something that like a Chris Paul would do, which we're actually going to talk about a little bit later. But, he's a guy that even at his advanced age can elevate a team. I don't know if Russ is that guy, but hey, like you said, man, it's going to be fun tracking this thing for the next, few months or however it goes on. All right, BK, let's get into it. We're going to start off with a little bit of talk about the scoring title. As of yesterday, it was a battle between 3 players, BK, but with LeBron not playing today, it could come down to 2, because I think LeBron needed to play those last 2 games to try and win it. So I think because 58 games is the threshold the NBA has set for eligibility. So let's pretty much just talk about the other 2 guys. We've got Joel Embiid Giannis Antetokounmpo. Embiid played 66 games, averaging 30.4 points per game. Giannis has played 65 games, averaging 29.9 points per game. Now, the Bucks' remaining games are versus the Celtics, at the Pistons, at the Cavaliers, and the Sixers have at Raptors, versus Pacers, and versus Pistons, BK. So both teams have maybe one semi-difficult game and a couple of, I guess, gimmies, given the way the Cavaliers have been playing lately. But who do you like, BK, to come away with the scoring title this year?
I think this is Joel Embiid's. I mean, LeBron's got to play 2 of the 3 remaining games, which doesn't look at all like it's going to be the case. And Giannis, he's dealing with that knee soreness. He's missed a couple of games. He's come back in and out of the lineup. But Embiid's just been consistent. I mean, he had 40, 45 the other night. Like he wants this, because this really adds to his MVP credentials. If you're the scoring title winner this season, that makes it a lot harder to deny him the MVP. And yeah, the opponents the Sixers have, I can see Embiid dropping 40 on each of these teams.
Yeah, yeah, very easily too. Embiid's been pretty vocal that he does want the MVP. It seems to me every single interview that he's done, it's been mentioned. Either he's brought it up or it's obviously been brought up, and then the way he answers that question, you can tell he wants it. He was hurt from that year a couple of years ago where he probably should have won it if he didn't get hurt. I think he only played like 60-something games, got hurt, didn't get it, or something like that. So you can tell that he wants it. This would add to his case. Look, when the Sixers played the Bucks last week, we both picked the Sixers and Embiid to win. Giannis came out and had a big game. Bucks win. Was that game or the week before?
Yeah. That block on Embiid.
The block on Embiid, right? So I went against Giannis that game, against my better instincts. I'm going to go with Giannis to win this thing, right? And it's not going to be because he's going out there to win it. He's playing today, right?
Yeah.
The Milwaukee Bucks, they're not scared of going for that second seed. They're going all out. Like, they're not resting guys at a point in the season where, they can say, all right, we can afford to drop the 3 or whatever. Like, they're hooping right now. They're playing. They know what's at stake. I think just in general, Giannis, through his natural course of just being Giannis, is going to put up some numbers. And again, look, Celtics defense is going to make it tough, right? So that could be the one that, out of those 3 remaining games. But then against the Pistons and the Cavaliers, he's liable to put up 40 out of both of those. So
yeah,
I'm going to go with Giannis.
Hey, I don't hate that. And shout out to the Bucks. They're not ducking anybody. Like, it would be much more convenient to be the 3 seed and avoid what's going on down at the bottom end of the Eastern Conference picture. But the Bucks, they don't care where they finish. They don't care who they play. And that's a sign of a team that knows who they are and are comfortable going through everybody to get to the finals.
Big facts. Like, that is the defending champion. They know they're the defending champion. And what I love about Giannis, and I hate to sort of bring this analogy up because people use it to sort of, to criticize LeBron, but when he missed games, and there was a Lakers fan with a sign at the game the other day saying Kobe would have played this, that's that Kobe mentality that Giannis has got. Like, he's not taking games off just for the sake of taking games off at this point of the season.
Yeah, and he's not we're gonna fix the game and jockey for position and duck somebody, because that never works out for you. No. Best laid plans will always come undone if you you try
every single time, like without fail. So all right, you're going with Embiid. I'm going with Antetokounmpo. I feel like this has been a theme for us throughout the season, BK. We'll see how it plays out. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about LeBron. So on the most recent episode of The Shop, LeBron James said, out of all active players, the one that he would most like to play with, surprise, surprise, is Steph Curry. BK, they're actually both from Akron, or they were both born in Akron. Ohio too, so there's probably that connection there as well, BK. But first of all, the quote from LeBron was, in today's game, Steph Curry is the one I want to play with in today's game, because they'd asked him that question and he said, I want to play with Bronny, his son. What do you make of this, BK? Is it just feeding more content for us media folk?
Absolutely. It's very convenient timing, just as the Lakers season goes up in flames. But I mean, this is the least surprising answer ever. I mean, we've seen him pick him, at the top of the All-Star game drafts the last couple of seasons. Like, there's no more perfect player to play alongside LeBron than Steph Curry. Could you imagine those two on the court together?
Yeah, I can actually.
But LeBron knows what he's doing. This is going to get people talking. But Steph poured cold water on that pretty quickly. Obviously, very gracious in hearing that. But his 2-word response of "I'm good." Like they're good over there in Golden State. And I mean, it would be interesting if there is a path for this to happen. But he's not going to Golden State. Steph's not going to LA. Both of them aren't going to Cleveland. I don't know how this happens.
We've actually got the clip of. We're going to show the clip of Steph when he first heard, or they told him about what LeBron had said. We'll show that real quick now.
Boy said.
Who?
Uh-oh. You hear what your boy said?
Who, my boy?
Take a listen.
Who else you want to play with? In today's game, Steph Curry. Yeah. Steph Curry's the one that I want to play with.
Oh, shoot.
The chef.
And then, funny enough, so after that, he added to that, and he said, whenever you get the curiosity or interest of what it would be like to play with arguably MVP caliber dude like he is, and one of the greatest of all time, cool, it's amazing. We can all live in that fantasy world, though. Well, and then he added, well, he got his wish. He was captain and picked me the last 2 All-Star games. He said, I don't know if that suffices, but I'm good right now. So it was, like you said, he quickly poured cold water all over that thing. But I was laughing because he called LeBron an MVP caliber dude. Like
he was dancing around that. You didn't want to give him too much props. You can't give a quote unquote rival that much credit while they're still playing.
Yeah, like you said, like LeBron knows exactly what he's saying, and Steph knows exactly how to respond to something like that. They're vets at this. You're not getting anything by them.
No.
I love it. Yeah, like you said, BK, this is very, very unlikely to happen. But look, man, like Steph said, like you said, we can all live in that fantasy world, man, because what a tandem that would be.
The first expansion team's got to have Bron and Steph Curry on there.
Oh, I love it.
That's how we launched the Vegas team.
Let's speak it into, oh, geez, in Vegas too. That
39, 40-year-old LeBron and 36-year-old Steph.
I'll take those two over Westbrook. Let me stop. All right, BK, let's talk about Chris Paul now, because we alluded to it a little bit earlier when we were talking about Russell Westbrook. He's done look, man, I've been saying this all season. I've been saying this for a few years now. As great as Chris Paul is, BK, I still feel like he's underrated in a way, because he just goes to teams and he makes them better. So the Phoenix Suns, they reached a franchise record number of wins when they got their 63rd win. So CP3 has now led a 4th different team to a franchise record number of wins. Like, when we talk again about, most valuable, if you take this guy off this team, how good would they be? Chris Paul's got to be in the running for the most valuable every single year.
Yeah, I mean, Devin Booker had won like 128 games in his first few seasons in Phoenix, and then in the last 2, he's won about 120. Like, it's crazy the impact that Chris Paul has had, but also Monty Williams as well. As their head coach, and obviously they have other pieces as well. But Chris Paul is the one that makes it go. And as you said, his 4th team, the Hornets, the Clippers, the Rockets, and the Suns, he's led them all to franchise records. This guy, I mean, we thought he was done a couple of seasons ago. And then you look at what he did in Oklahoma City. I mean, it wasn't a franchise record, but that team was not supposed to be anywhere near the playoffs. He takes them into the postseason. Like, he's the ultimate floor raiser and ceiling raiser as well. Like, this was already a very good team last season. Now they're even better again heading into the postseason. A little bit about Chris Paul's season though. He's on track to lead the NBA in assists again with 10.7. That's his highest mark since 2013-14, and that'll make him alongside Bron and Steve Nash to average double-digit assists in his 15th season or later. So, wow. Shout out to longevity.
Yeah, he is Mr. Longevity. And like you said, when he went to OKC, and I guess maybe I kind of thought, I was like, all right, this is that part of his career where he's just going to sort of bounce around these, I thought he was going to be what Russ is now. Russ has been on 4 different teams in 4 different seasons, struggling. I was like, that's the part of his career that he's at now. And the fact that, like you said, all right, it wasn't a franchise record in wins or anything like that, but that team was not supposed to be anywhere near the playoffs that season.
Yeah.
And the only reason they got there was because of Chris Paul. And that was like the confirmation for me. I've always been a Chris Paul fan, despite can he whine on the court a little bit? Yeah, he whines a little bit. Does he flop? Yeah, okay, he flops. But Chris Paul is a super, super player. And that season at OKC, that confirmed it for me. I was like, nah, mate, you are one of the all-time greats.
and I feel like we kind of look at him the same way, I guess, Dirk Nowitzki was almost viewed. One championship will change everything.
Yep.
Because Chris Paul has everything else. He has the All-NBA selections. He has the All-Star selections. He's got all the statistical things that you love about a point guard, but he just doesn't have that championship. If he wins a championship with the Phoenix Suns, all of a sudden we're going to be talking about, is Chris Paul the best point guard ever? It shouldn't ultimately come down to that, but the validation you get from winning a title, and that kind of puts everything else in context in terms of what his career will be. That's a game changer. So I want the Suns to win the title this year just for Chris Paul, because that will completely change the trajectory of, I guess, how he is remembered in NBA history, which is, you can argue whether that's fair or not, but that just is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. And we've seen that with another previous Phoenix point guard, Steve Nash, who won a couple of MVPs over there. That team consistently won, high 50s, low 60s games every single season. Just couldn't get over the line. Like, I think if Nash had won one championship, that probably changes his narrative as well, as far as where he's ranked in the point guard, all time as well.
Yeah. I guess that's what we're trying to do here is win championships. So it does matter. It does matter.
Listen, man, I'm still rocking with Milwaukee, right? But to be perfectly honest, if Phoenix wins it this year, I won't be mad at that, man. Like, there's just so many great stories surrounding them. Obviously, CP is, top of the list, but then, having a guy like Booker as well, who, like you said, won 100-something odd games in his first few seasons in the league, and then all of a sudden CP comes over and they've won the same amount in 2 years. So,
yeah. And shout out to Devin Booker, because he has improved every year as well. It's not like it's just been the Chris Paul show. Like, you could argue Devin Booker has been their MVP this season. Yeah. Obviously, availability's played a big part in that. Chris Paul had a few injuries and missed some time, but Booker is on track to have a crazy career. He's reaching all of those like youngest to ever scoring marks like really quickly.
Yeah, very quickly. I feel like we're seeing one of those like at least twice a season. So, yeah. Shout out to the Suns, man. Like I said, I actually still think that I'm still on the Milwaukee train, but I feel like Phoenix is probably the most complete team in basketball right now.
Are we heading for a finals rematch? Is that where this is going?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's a one-word answer right there. All right, BK, we're going to take a look at some games. Then we're going to get out of here. 7 games on the NBA slate today. One's already in action, but we're going to start off with we're going to look at the ones that have got probably the most playoff implications. So we're going to start off with the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics. The Bucks, this one's at home for them. So they're $1.25 favorites. The Celtics, $4. The line's at -8.5. Totals at 227 flat. Live on League Pass, BK. All eyes are on this one here. This one could decide that number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. Giannis is playing. Like we said, Milwaukee are not scared of grabbing that number 2 seed. Celtics are playing second night of a back-to-back following their win over the Chicago Bulls yesterday. BK, this is probably the juiciest matchup of the day. Who do you like?
Yeah, the Bucks want that 2 seed and the Celtics do not. I'm going with Giannis and the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm going with Giannis at the Bucks as well. Like, as soon as I saw that he was playing today, I was like, Celtics are in trouble. It's going to be close though. The Celtics, that defense is one of the best in the league. They're not going to go down without a fight. Going to be a close one. I like the Bucks as well. Moving on, we're going to take a look at the 76ers and the Raptors. Again, more playoff implications in this one here. Philadelphia, $1.57 favorites. Toronto Raptors, $2.42. The line's at 4. Totals at 220 flat. Also on League Pass. Sixers have won 3 in a row. Just a half game separating, between 2, 3, and 4 in the Eastern Conference. Raps relatively clear. They're 1.5 games clear of the Bulls, so relatively safe in that 5th seed. Matisse Thybulle is listed as ineligible to play, BK, and we're all assuming that's because it's something to do with a vaccination thing, as this game is being played in Toronto. OG Anunoby is out, as is Fred VanVleet. Who do you like, BK?
Yeah, I'm going with Embiid in the scoring title chase. No OG and Fred. That makes things tough for the Raptors because as good as the Raptors are, they're also very thin. They rely on that kind of same 7, 8 guys. Once you sort of get too deep into the bench and guys are asked to do a little bit more, that's when things start to unravel for them. So I'll stick with the Sixers on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Sixers too. It's more so, like I said, the Raps are pretty clear in that 5th spot. They're 1.5 games ahead. I don't see them dropping down to 5th. So I think this is like a chance for them to rest those guys maybe just before the playoffs start. Embiid, like you said, he wants that scoring title. So I think he's going to come out and have a big game. I like the 76ers to go into Toronto and get, again, I think it's going to be a close one there. Even though they're shorthanded, Toronto generally does. They've had a couple of blowouts, but generally they do put up a good fight as well. All right, BK, next game we're going to talk about, I tell you what, if you had asked me at the start of the season if these two teams would be talking about them as far as playoff implications, I would have laughed and laughed and laughed. But here we are. Here we are. The Minnesota Timberwolves, $1.33. San Antonio Spurs, $3.40. They've clinched their play-in spot because of the Lakers loss the other day. Lines at -7. Total is at 240 even, also on League Pass, BK. So both of these teams obviously have clinched play-in spots. I believe the Wolves have clinched, but San Antonio just 1 game behind New Orleans there in 9th, and I'm pretty sure they would like to have home court matchup for that one. Pat Bev is questionable. Malik Beasley is probable for Minnesota. No DeJounte Murray, no Jock Landale. Lonnie Walker is questionable for this game for the Spurs. So this could just be Greg Popovich saying, we're resting, guys. We're going to get ready for that play-in spot. Who do you like, BK?
Yeah, the Timberwolves have a lot more to play for in this game. They can actually still catch the Nuggets. They're only 2 games back. So they can actually jump out of the play-in into that 6th seed. I don't think it's going to happen, but they've got a lot more to play for. So I'll go with the Wolves in this game.
I'm agreeing with you for the 3rd time today here, BK. I'm going with the Wolves as well. Like you said, they've got a lot more to play for. And I think those losses, or those absences, I guess, for the San Antonio Spurs, because they're not an overly talented team, top to bottom. So I think, having their best guy, Murray, and then also having Lonnie Walker, probably questionable for this game. Too much to overcome for them. So I'm going with Minnesota. Last game we're going to take a look at, and then we're out of here. The Memphis Grizzlies, Denver Nuggets. Again, this should be a pretty good game. Denver Nuggets, $1.51. Memphis Grizzlies, $2.60. Lines at -4.5. Totals at 234.5. Again, live on NBA League Pass. Grizzlies had their win streak snapped last game, but they're pretty secure in that 2nd seed. They're not going anywhere. Nuggets try to climb into that 5th seed. They're 1 game behind Utah. Jeff Green, questionable for the Nuggets. Dylan Brooks, questionable for the Grizzlies. Missed that last game. Obviously, still no Ja Morant. BK, playoff implications here. I'm sure Jokic would probably want to put up some big numbers and try and get his team into that 5th seed. Who do you like?
I hate picking against the Grizzlies, even without Ja Morant. But there's a lot more going for the Denver Nuggets in this game. They need to keep that distance and try and clinch that 6th seed. So I'll go with the favorites in this one, but I'm not happy about it. I still think the Grizzlies.
I can see that it's paining you just to make that choice. Yeah. Look, I'm with you, man. I'm going with the favorites in this game too. Denver Nuggets, a lot more to play for right now. Again, we've mentioned Grizzlies secure in that 2nd seed. I think they just want to get their guys healthy and ready for the playoffs. So, BK, my man, always a pleasure chatting hoops with you. We spoke a little bit about Russ, but we didn't really go too deep into who that I didn't want to talk about anymore.
I'm still on Westbrook Island. I ain't leaving.
Look, I've got a feeling we're going to be talking about Westbrook for a long time to come. So it is what it is. But my man, enjoy your weekend. We're going to catch you again on Monday morning. This has been another episode of the Last Shot NBA show here on Little Birdie TV, brought to you by our good friends at topsport.com.au. We'll catch you guys Monday morning.